Hey everyone, welcome back to another live session from Let's Update Language Academy. Myself, Noel.
And I'm Anaka.
So today we are here with another cue card number 5. The question is displayed behind you, and before that, we have to just cover some of the common parts and the the marking criteria for speaking. Okay, we've already covered this topic before. Things that I'm going to say right now will be in brief. And if you want, you can check the earlier live videos where we have clearly mentioned about the marking criteria, as well as we've done 3 separate videos for all the 3 parts. Okay, now just revisiting all the parts. Part 1 is introduction, where you will be asked personal questions, and it is kind of like a
warm-up section.
Yes, and then part 2.
It will be a question from cue card. You will be given 3 questions that you should answer.
And yeah, you should have to elaborate. You will be given time to prepare for that. You can prepare using the cross method that we have mentioned in the previous live videos, and you can refer it in the videos. Now, the last part is part 3, which is the follow-up questions. Follow-up questions are based off of the cue card and based off of what we have already said in the cue card. And yeah, that is all about the 3 parts. Then, what are the criteria? The first criteria.
First criteria is fluency and coherence.
And in this criteria, we will be basically checking the flow of words as well as the number of words spoken per minute, how accurately it has been spoken, and the logic behind it. The second criteria will be lexical resources, which basically is vocabulary. And here we'll be checking if there is any repetition, if the selection of words are correct, and the uses of paraphrasings and synonyms as well. The next one is
grammatical range and accuracy,
where we will be checking the grammatical range, the sentence structuring, the accuracy of the sentences that we've structured, etc. The last one is pronunciation. Okay, pronunciation is one of the most important criteria, and many people mistake pronunciation for being accent, putting on accent. That is not it. What is pronunciation is basically is that we have to we should not be influenced by our mother tongue. Basically, all mother tongues has a big influence on their mother tongue, and yeah, you should avoid it. That's it. There is no accent required. Just clean and simple pronunciation. Okay, now shall we move on to this?
Okay, let's move on to the question.
So the question at hand is:
describe a book which you don't like. You should say which book it is, what is the content, and why don't you like it.
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, there is a clean and simple method which will help you to prepare, and that method is the cross method. Okay. Okay, so we have 3 sub questions here. The question is: describe a book which you don't like. Okay, so how should we start this question?
We should start this question by introduction. So we should have a line or 2 or more sentences about reading.
Okay, so you should not go into the reading part extensively because the main question is describe a book which you don't like. So just a brief
1 or 2 sentences is enough.
Yes.
You should not elaborate.
Yes, it might be about me being a reader and reading a lot, things like that. Okay, and we'll be discussing this afterwards. Let's come back to the question. First sub question is which book it is. Okay, so out of some of the books that we have read recently, the book that we both personally do not like is
It Ends With Us
by
School and Hopper.
So, while preparing, we can just write it down as points. The first one.
Write the name of the book. It is Ends With Us. Then Write about the content in the book.
Content is basically a story about a girl named Lily and some of the struggles that has been
She
faced
faced
by
in
her.
her life.
And yeah, out of it, the main
There are
three
three
main
main
characters, which are
Lily,
okay. So I can just write like this story about
Lily,
Lily, main characters.
Ryle, and Atlas.
Okay, so these are the three main characters. So just to provide an overview about who the people who does not know about this book, the story is about a girl named Lily, and the main characters in this book are Lily, Ryle, and Atlas. Lily came up in an abusive home, and she got out of it. Then she got into college. Right now, she is completed in college, and she is looking forward to move on in her life. She is looking forward to get settled in her life. And then
She met a boy named Ryle, who was a surgeon.
Yes.
Then she fell for him.
while they were dating, while Lily and Ryan were dating, Atlas, who is Lily's first love, came back into Lily's life and started, kind of influencing her. And then the rest of the story is mainly about the way Atlas influences Lily and the common hardships that Lily and Ryle had to face, as well as the challenges in that relationship.
Faced.
Yeah. Firstly, why don't you like it? That is the next sub question. Ma'am, why don't you like it?
Because this story contains lot of violence and abuse. That's the main reason many readers don't like this book.
Okay, it contains a lot of violence, and I would say that this novel is kind of unrealistic.
Yeah.
Okay, why I would say that this novel is unrealistic because it is very fast paced, and the part of forgiveness has been emphasized a lot more. And apart from the normal rom-com kind of things, it has been emphasized. The forgiveness part has been emphasized a lot more. And another thing is that abuse has been romanticized in this novel. Okay, so giving an overview about Ryle. Ryle is basically an abusive person, and Lily wants to get out from it because, as I mentioned earlier, Lily grew up in an abusive household, and Lily's father was very abusive towards her mother, and she felt that Ryle was also kind of the same. There are many instances in that novel also where Ryle hit her in her eyes, and her eyes got bruised.
He also tried to kill her.
Yeah, by throwing her down a flight of stairs. And yeah, that is the main reason why we both do not like this novel. Okay, and we can smoothly end it. Okay, one of the main things that the students forget is that endings also has an importance. Okay, so end it in a smooth manner. Do not rush it. Like this story, do not rush it. Okay, so end in a smooth and calm manner, and I'm sure that you'll be able to score well.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is basically what the story is about. This is a book that we both do not
Like.
Okay, so as we mentioned earlier, we're going to start with an introduction, a slight introduction. It may be based on my reading habit, or it may be based on a general perspective. Okay, so what do we say? Can we start?
Yeah, we can start.
Okay, so I would say that I've already prepared, like right now I've prepared it. So yeah, as you guys know, you will be given 1 minute time to prepare. And
you have to speak for 2 minutes.
Yes. So
Time
I am
starts.
setting it to as timer.
Okay.
Okay.
Time starts. How can it?
Yeah. Okay, so my 2 minutes speaking time starts now. I'm an avid reader and I've been reading since my childhood. I've read a lot of books, I've covered a lot of genres, and if you ask me, I do not have a book, I do not have books that I don't like. But recently I read a book which is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. And the author is amazing. She became famous because of this book, It Ends With Us. She has a lot of other novels which I personally like. And yeah, the main content of this book is that it is a story about a girl called Lily. And the main characters in this story are Lily, Ryle, and Atlas. Lily grew up in an abusive household and she got out from it. She moved to the college and she finished her college. She's at a stage in her life where she has to kind of continue and she has to move forward. And along the road, she meets Ryle. Ryle is a surgeon and she falls in love with him. She falls deeply for him. And at that time, her first love, Atlas, came with him. He kind of tried to establish a communication with Lily again, and Atlas was kind of successful in that. The story basically deals with the challenges Lily and Riley had to face in their life, and that is basically the content of the story. Why I don't like it is because this novel has a lot of violence in it. It is very unrealistic in my perspective because the author kind of try to rush in about the way the main character Lily forgives Ryle. And Ryle is an abusive person. Ryle abused Lily physically, mentally, and sexually a lot of times. And this story basically romanticizes abuse, which I am personally against. The story is overall a good story, but the way the author tried to justify about this character Ryle was very bad. That is why most of the readers do not like it, and that is why I personally do not like this story.
Okay, this is how you exactly should answer the question. He talked about all the 3 points, and this is the way everyone should answer the question.
Yeah, there were some mistakes.
Yeah, there were a little bit of grammar mistakes, but it was okay.
Yeah. So this is basically it. Now let's move on to the follow-up questions. Okay, these are the follow-up questions.
Okay. So shall I ask?
Yes.
Is it really important to develop reading habit among youngsters?
Okay. Reading habit is one of the most overlooked habit in this current era. In the previous eras, our ancestors used to read a lot more and they were very knowledgeable. But since the upcoming of the internet, a lot more people has been relying on the internet, and I feel that it is a boon for us in certain ways. In ways like we do not use our memory power nowadays, and I would say that reading it has a lot of effects on our personal and mental health.
Okay. And can we move to the next question?
Yeah, of course.
How can one develop the habit of reading?
A person can develop a habit of reading by finding out and by looking for the genre that they like the most. And then, after they are comfortable with that kind of books, they can move extensively into the other genres. There are a lot of genres, and they can kind of search for it.
Okay, fine. Then the third question is, which genre of book is popular in your country?
Well, from my experience and my observation, I've found that different age categories have different interests in reading. I would take mainly three age categories here. There's young children or children. Children like to read comics more than any other books. Young adults and adults like to read fictions as well as novels about happenings of in life. and they also like to read about autobiographies and biographies of written by people. And old people mostly like to read religious books as well as a lot of other books, because that is their age.
Okay, that's the answer.
Okay, so I guess this was helpful for you. If you guys have any doubts, any queries, please feel free to comment it in the chat box. We're here to clear all your doubts. Please feel free to comment about it. If you have any doubts regarding this question or some other questions in general, you can definitely put it in the chat box and we're here to clear your doubts. Okay, I guess we don't have any questions. So that was the end of our live session. We will catch you soon in the next video, in the next live session. Thank you everyone. Thanks for watching.